Hi guys, it's vlog time. It's long overdue, but I'm going to give you a tour of the studio for anyone who can't make it down themselves. So this is our office for Banter Media. It's about 8 PM, so everybody's gone home. But if you come in the front door and there's Banter Media, come round here and here is stairs to the studio. So come with me. So come to the live room, but first we'll go into the control room. So this is the control room. As you can see, there's a lovely rack of guitars and another rack of guitars. You can never have enough guitars. So it's a nice chilled out, friendly atmosphere that we keep in here. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? So the beginning for most people is the desk. This is our Allen and Heath GL 3300. This beast is a 48 channel desk. 40 channel desk, excuse me. Although I have never actually used 40 channels in one go. I think 24 is a reasonable maximum. And sat above that is my SN10s, which are NS10s, let's be honest, but instead of charging £1,000, they're a bit less than that. Now let's have a look underneath there, because some of my favourite things are tucked away. Let's see if I can bring up the brightness here. Because this is kind of the pride and joy of the studio. This is my, let's leave this out of the way, BBC preamps, which we took from the Philharmonic Hall at BBC Manchester before it was demolished, before Media City was fully manned. They sound absolutely sweet. Now I've got those two, and over here as well I have another 6, but these don't have those crazy EQs with them. These are just line preamps. So what I do with those is I run sound from the desk through this lovely patch bay to these, and then into my converters up here, which then, the Focusrite and the Alesis, go into the computer through an RME radar card. Now this old hunk of junk is our old Yamaha desk. Now this is all but useless these days, but it's pretty. And it's got fully motorised faders, which means if I set the MIDI up with the computer, I can feel and ride the changes and see them come back as well, which is always useful, especially things like film work. So the computer, motherboard by ASUS of course, is an absolute monster, and is flanked by my A7Xs by Adam, and these are absolutely incredible. I wonder if I can get any brighter, it's quite dark in here. The ribbon tweeters on these go up to 50 kilohertz, which is way above human hearing, and it's absolutely insane. On the computer I run Reaper as my primary thing. If you've not seen Reaper before, check it out. It's incredible, and it beats Pro Tools hands down. I use Pro Tools as well if I really have to, if someone's brought a Pro Tools project in, but I would much rather stab my own eyes out with a fork. These are an old pair of Mission speakers, which actually belong to an old friend of mine, Vinny. Hi Vinny, if you're watching. And the oldest Mac possibly in the world ever. This thing's pretty cool, but is no good for audio production these days because it's so out of date. You've got to keep your keyboards, so I've got an 88 key Studio Logic, which doesn't actually make any sound, and neither does the one above it. They just control the software most of the time. So let's have a look at some of these guitars. This is a crazy Frankenstein guitar by a local builder called Stephen Hart. He's an incredible guy. He's a bit mental, but he's a great builder. And this is our old Roland V guitar system, which is also awful. This is so far out of date, but I do like kind of quirky vintage sounds. Now, I've been a guitarist and a bass player for years, so these are my toys. This, as you can see from the label, is my main bass. It's got a John East preamp in it, it's a jazz bass. Replaced the tuners, replaced the nut, I've replaced the bridge, I've replaced the pickups, I've replaced the preamp. Everything's new. Then we've got a Yamaha bass, which kind of sounds like a Precision. Got another Stephen Hart guitar with EMGs in, that's a Telecaster. Farty sounding old fretless. Another Stephen Hart, that's a 7-string. A Charvel Model 4, which is the cleanest sounding Super Strat I've ever heard. And a Telly. And of course a purple ukulele. Gotta love a uke. A cupboard full of weird, wonderful microphones, which I'll not go into in this video because some of them are just seriously out there. This beautiful bass is my number 2 bass. This is a one-off that was reportedly made by Dan Erlewine, but he says it wasn't. So we think it was one of his students' graduation pieces. There's also a 3/4 precision bass back here. The most battered old Yamaha acoustic you've ever seen. A fretless acoustic bass, which I used in the Everlong video. This is a copy of the guitar I've had since I was about 12, which is in the live room. So let's go into the live room. Well, the main live room. The main live room is quite spacious, although it's a fairly zoomed in shot from this camera. See that there's plenty of space to swing a cat in. You can both your arms out and there's space enough for everybody. This drum kit is absolutely beautiful. This is my pride and joy in terms of drums. This is the Joe Becky electro-acoustic kit, based around what was originally Elisa shells. Makes no noise, but feels pretty much like a real kit. This is a first generation Joe Becky kit, and I'm looking at talking to those guys about upgrading the shells inside to their generation 3 hardware. In terms of bass, this is my rack with the Sans amp, nice big tuner, and a Hartke 3500, which I only now use the power amp for. I actually route the Sans amp through it, but not through the preamp. But that goes into a Trace Elliott 4x10 if I want punch. And I've got this big fat beast that's a 4x15 cab. Yes, you heard right, 4x15. And on top of that, it's just the usual PA system that's sat next to an original Yamaha DX7. Sounds like the 80s personified. Next to that is the guitar I was talking about before. This is my original guitar that I've had since 12 years old. It's a Sun Mustang, as you can see, but it's a Stratocaster, let's be honest. It's had the frets stoned and refretted. Not refretted, it's just been ground down. It's got rails pickups everywhere with coil taps on everything, and a special capacitor mod so you can change the amount of bass response. So what's next? This Zilla 2x12, which is actually owned by Christian now, but this was mine. I got this from Paul from Zilla. Handmade 2x12 with Celestians in, a beautiful thing. So shelf with a lot of crap on, but this tube DI box is my favourite DI box by a long way because it just gives you a warm sound. This was my first ever 4x12, donated to me kindly by my friend Phil. An orange cab as well, 4x10, 12 in. There's a 2x15 monster down here, which I don't think I've ever used in a recording session, but it's a nice table for this beauty. This is a Zilla Fat Boy. Look how thick it is, it's huge. And that's got a Celestian Vintage 30 on the left and a K100 on the right. The two mics aren't plugged in right now, but that's an Audix i5 and a Sennheiser 421. If I wanted an SM57, there's one up here. There's an SM7B as well. THD hot plate means I don't have to run full volume if I don't want. And that's on top of my PV Windsor. 120 watt monster everything. Move over this way. So over here is a Focusrite Liquid Sapphire, which used to be my main interface, but is now running over a stupidly long optical cable and working as multiple headphone outs. To this headphone out down here by Samson. This is kind of the cable-y end of the stick. So there's little IKEA boxes that are labelled power, unbalanced, balanced audio, stuff. Almost every session I use my SE5s in stereo because they're great as a small diaphragm condenser set. Let's move into the vocal booth. The sound of my voice should change slightly if I close this door to be dead as a dodo. These walls are made from the same kind of material that you see on the back of an SE reflection filter. Now this starts life as a metal with holes in it that only let certain sounds through. Then the foam behind captures more of the audio frequencies, which then bounce back again and get caught again. Makes this whole room pretty dead. And this is my pride and joy of microphones. This is the Gemini 2 by SE Electronics with a pop filter. And just in the corner, and sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't, I have an SE reflection filter down here. Inspired the entire room. So yeah, the reflection filter's that good, I based my entire vocal booth on it. This mic is everything I've been looking for a vocal mic because it's a double tube mic. So it's got that big warmth, but it's also got the high end because there's no transformer just making it sound dull, which has always been a concern when you want that nice big modern airy vocal. And that is my current setup. There is more that's going to happen. I'm going to be doing several upgrades over the coming year. If there's anything that you think I'm missing that I should have, let me know in the comments. If there's anything that you think I might have that I might not mentioned in this video, that's entirely possible. So let me know what you think, and thanks for watching. If you want to talk to me any more about coming into the studio for a booking, or just asking some questions about what you should be doing with your album, your EP, where you're at, let me know in the comments, send me a direct message, I'll get talking to you. Thanks for watching.